Alright, time for another DraftPhysics.com video presentation. So I'm going to play the video I made previously regarding Ian Gosling's lever experiment, which now he's doing the rolling thing. And I clearly said right at the beginning of this video, not the best idea. And of course, it's just ignored. I mean, there's just, you just can't win with these people. So, I mean, they just keep doing experiments in ways that, aren't the way I'm describing. And then claiming they've proved me wrong. And it's just so irritating. So, I guess to be completely honest, I did state about rolling in a previous video, and I said, well, they do these experiments where you roll something with the heavy mass in the middle and then the mouse on the outside, and they roll at different speeds, blah, 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 blah. But I really wasn't thinking about ramps and gravity, because the fact is the heavier object still is heavier. It just is heavier. Okay, it's not about the angular momentum anymore. It's about collecting energy. So it's not about taking the energy from the object. It's about collecting energy. And clearly, heavy things, when they fall in gravity, collect more energy. It's just a fact. But anyway... Physics.com video presentation. So the Ian Gosling has made a rather almost a reasonable video about some of the complications of doing these experiments to tweeze out the truth about this distinction. Now, if we had the simple experiment, like 9 times of fuel to go 3 times as fast, or collecting the energy from something going 10 miles an hour and then collect the energy from something going 30 miles an hour and see how much damage it does, how much impact it has, and measure the calories of heat it produces, let's say. And then we could have this definitive proof that, yes, there's 9 times the heat created by something going 3 times faster. Right. So that would be the ideal, is yes, let's get the right experiment done the right way. To prove the point one way or another. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to find out if it actually takes 9 times the fuel to go 3 times as fast. So, and if it doesn't, then they're in trouble, because they can't use relativity arguments. I mean, it's at these tiny changes and tiny speeds, you couldn't possibly make a relativity argument that somehow the fuel got 3 times more powerful by going 30 miles an hour. It's sort of just a ridiculous claim. So, I mean, well, anyway, continuing. Alright, so we're back. Play some more. We don't have those experiments, and so we have to do the ones that are more possible and more simpler. Alright, and the fact is these haven't been done either. They really should have been done well by scientists, and we shouldn't have to do them rig them together, and that is unfortunate. But anyway, so I mean, it would be nice if these assholes would concede this simple point, that we really shouldn't have to be doing this, that all this elemental stuff should have been well established and well proven, and we really shouldn't at this late stage in the game of science have to figure out whether there's good reason to believe or not. It should well establish that there's good reason. So, I mean, the fact that they won't even concede that this is a huge shortcoming in the physics and the science, that they really haven't established a proof, that they haven't the proof experiment, shame on them, really. So, play the video.
Hello guys. At the risk of this being a convoluted video with too many subjects in it, just brief.
Yeah, it was irritating that I didn't know the too many subjects were going to lead to, I'll just quit doing the lever and I'll do this stupid rolling thing. Okay, that I first complained that it's a very small wheel, and the difference between the distances between these weights is not very substantial.
Briefly, Gary, I tend to do your...
They're all valid subjects, okay, in the sense that every experiment has these little variables, and figuring out the difference between the big one is in all these experiments of mechanical objects is colliding things in gravity, moving things in gravity, and then trying to figure out, well, moving things out of gravity, where you're measuring motion that isn't supposed to be affected by gravity. Yeah, it's a huge difference. I mean, obviously the lever, that has 5 masses on 5 masses further out, the total weight of the lever is different than when the 2 masses are at half the distance. It's just a fact. I mean, and it can make a difference. And the same goes for these wheels. And, the fact that you couldn't care less about any of this, the physics, I mean, the underlying physics, it does make a difference. Gravity is causing the effect. So if you're going to use gravity as a source of the energy, you have to recognize that there's rules involved. And frankly, yeah, I was just talking about the fact of angular rotation. So if something's spinning on ice, for example, or spinning in some frictionless way, that it doesn't matter whether there's, twice the mass on the inside or half the mass on the outside, that the amount of energy that takes is the same. There's advantages and disadvantages to switching between the two, because they both have liabilities.
Rolling disc experiment.
So I don't know if rolling is the best idea, but yes, I mean spinning. So, you could fix. So I should have said rolling's a terrible idea. Okay, it won't work. Because you're using gravity to put the energy into the objects. Obviously, the heavier object will collect more force. It has more friction. It's not going to roll the same as the lighter object. Okay, I should have just conceded that point. It's not going to work. I'm saying, basically, it's not going to work when I just said it's better you don't do that. We're talking about spinning something. If you put a wheel, bicycle wheel, horizontally, and then tied up. See, he already has the bicycle wheel, so I thought he would go for that because he already has it. Okay, he had it in previous experiments, which he didn't follow through on. So it's all this. The idea is they really don't want to play with these experiments to get them to work. They want to just prove it didn't work and then walk away. Whatever. A rope around a spindle and had it go down a pulley, and you pulled it with a weight. I mean, theoretically. Because it's the same amount of velocity and mass that you're moving. So you're just really talking about the velocity, the mass and the velocity, and that's what you're really saying. And then, yes, there's a little more friction because obviously 10 pounds is more than 5 pounds. But that little bit of difference in friction on a bearing wouldn't matter. Friction on a rolling surface, it does matter. The two would be the same, so maybe you could use a bigger... Yeah, I mean, the idea is you need to separate the distance. It needs to be a real difference in the distance between the two weights. Because the smaller the distance, the smaller the effect. So, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, obviously, if you put the 2 5 masses really close to where the 10 masses are, obviously it can't be much of an effect, except now you have a huge difference in their weights, and that's all there's going to be. Yeah. So, I mean, it is almost twice the distance, I guess, in his experiment, but, it's a very small wheel. Thank you. Yeah.
With masses in different positions, 2 discs, and race them. See if there's a difference in the speed they do down the ramp.
So, I mean, the thing here, with the holes in it, maybe you could just shove lead in the hole. So put in 4 holes. And then 2 holes closer. And so he did do the double wheel thing, which I suggest later on. But I mean, the fact is, I really should just said, no, let's not talk about rolling it. Let's talk about spinning it. Let's talk about how much energy it takes to spin it, not how it rolls down in gravity. When gravity is the source of the energy, obviously the heavier thing collects more force. Shove lead in there or some other kind of bolts or something of the same fine 6 bolts that would have the same mass, right? No. Yeah, I mean, all you want to do is you want to put 4 on the outside and just 2 on the inside. 4 on the other way around. Yeah, right. You want 2 on the outside and 4 on the inside. Um, you know, and see if those 2 would roll the same. So one wheel with 2 bolts on the outside and one wheel with 4 bolts on the inside. So that kind of thing. But a lot of ways to do it. Like I said, the bicycle wheel thing you had before was probably a good enough setup. Especially if you could turn that horizontally to do it both ways. Do it vertically and then do it horizontally. Now, I don't think gravity can make a difference. Even though it's a lighter mass on the outside, theoretically, you're not moving it 4 times the height, but you are moving it twice the velocity. But the point is, it's in the gravity the same amount of time. So the heavy mass and the light mass will be in the gravity the same amount of time. And obviously, gravity is only going to affect the half mass half as much. So the half mass would have an advantage because it's the same amount of time in the gravity. The idea is to get the friction out of it, and obviously the ramp is using friction again, so it's back to my rolling argument and the fact that there's going to be a disadvantage for heavy things, and an advantage when you're collecting. So it's a disadvantage when you're losing the energy, and it's an advantage when you're gaining the energy. The extra weight means it's putting more pressure on the surface, i.e. more rotational impetus. It's really not about how much distance you move height-wise. It's really about how much gravity you're fighting over time. So it gets a little complicated. Right there it gets a little complicated. Is the time more important? And how much of the time are you spending going sideways, which isn't working against gravity? And how much time are you spending going up and down? So that's the part that gets a little tricky. So clearly I did discourage, at least discourage the rolling thing, and talked about spinning and talked about using something else, some other falling object or some other object to create the energy, put the force in. And if you give them the same force, it's going to take the same energy to move the 10 mass, rotate it in the small circle, as it will take to move the half mass in the wider circle. That's the contention I'm making. And obviously this experiment's not going to get to that truth. I'm just trying to think for myself if there's much theoretical difference in the amount of time. The 2 things are in the gravity. But anyway, in the end you only lifted it twice as high. You didn't lift it 4 times as high. So you didn't do as much work on the lighter object. So you could theoretically say there'd be a slight advantage when you initiate the action. But once the action goes full circle, just trying to talk about the fact that we're really just saying gravity isn't the source when you're using something else. It's certainly gravity is the source if I'm using a falling object and I'm stealing its energy to cause the rotation in the wheel. But I'm just saying the rotation in the wheel is only affected by gravity, and you lift the weight, but there's a counterweight on the other side. So in a sense, you don't lose any energy to moving or causing the rotation. But say it's because you dropped the masses the same as you lifted the masses, so you got gravity pushed down the same amount as you had to do work against. It's just that you had to put the original work in, and that's the tricky part. But it shouldn't be enough of a difference to make a big difference. So there should be a slight advantage for the lighter thing. It should be easier to push. The light mass on the outside should be easier to start. So again, the rolling is dangerous with objects that have different masses. So that should be just stated in the first place. And we already know too that different velocities mean they're going to roll different distances that aren't going to reflect their actual energy. It's going to reflect how much friction there is. So when you're causing energy through friction, that is, you're putting energy into something with friction, the heavier object has the advantage. When you're taking the energy away, the heavier object loses the energy quicker. So it goes in quicker, it goes out quicker, the heavier it is. So again, that's why rolling won't work. But once it's rolling, it shouldn't matter. All right, something like that. But yeah, it's complicated.
There's a problem though. Like all of these things, it's a problem. We could have some kind of weight that's significant in regards to the weight of the disc. And if you've got a heavier weight with more mass, then the bigger it is. And the bigger it is, the more difficult it is to arrange in the 2 positions on the wheel. You can see on this little wooden disc that I would have trouble with this weight, putting it at one radius, half a radius, and at the full radius. So.
No, I didn't need to pause there. I was just going to jump ahead a little bit. This is just where I suggest 2 frisbees, 2 wheels, blah, 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 blah. So here we are drawing. This is the lever, or is this the round thing? Yeah, it's the round thing. Okay, so we can play that. I don't remember exactly what I was saying. But obviously the point is that, yes, I was talking about spinning a disc. So the argument is that, yeah, you should think about it before you do it. We all have run out of patience with doing that. And, but there is, like, I could theoretically say, okay, if you did with a two-wheel thing, so you have the same cart, then you could really just put the lever right in between. You could have a third wheel, okay? It doesn't even have to hit the ground. And really, you could just put on that third wheel. It's this way. Damn, this glare thing. Well, it's a little better. All right, so, and then the third wheel could just be where you just do your lever thing, where you put the one case that way, and the other case would be twice the mass, evenly spaced in the center, twice the distance from the circumference, from this distance. So make that wheel in the middle, so do those two versions, and have that on the same wheel in the middle. Should be the same thing, should equalize all of those variables, and then you just time it. But if you want to do the side-by-side comparison, then obviously you need two of these cart things, and it gets more complicated, blah, 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 blah. But lots of different ways to do it, and I'm sort of inclined to say it would be good to do it in the horizontal fashion, because then gravity is only friction. And so the one wheel with the 4 mass will weigh more, create a little bit more friction on the bearing, but that shouldn't be that significant. So I'm emphasizing that this would be the preferable way to do the experiment because you don't have to worry about friction. Ignored. And at least you're not going up and down in gravity, so you don't have to worry about how much. It should be the same energy to rotate it, compensating for the fact that you have a little extra mass from in the one case there's twice the mass, which makes the whole wheel itself weigh a little bit more. But yeah, those are real considerations. So anyway, so clearly I pointed it out, and they just don't care. So, there's no point in me talking about the theory, because they don't care. Okay, they don't care about the theory. Just, but frankly, the difference shouldn't be enough to account for the difference in the statement, which is the ones on the outside have twice the energy, or take twice the energy to move. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to taking twice the energy to rotate the disc with the weights on the outside, the lighter weights further out. They'll have the higher kinetic energy, so you're not going to spin the one with the weights on the outside twice as fast as you're going to spin with the same energy as you're going to spin the twice as heavy mass on the inside. It's not going to be twice the energy to do it, and it's not going to have twice the energy once it's spinning. It's basically just a flywheel, and you've just changed where the weight and the mass is, so you've changed the average speed of the average piece of matter. And it really, that's it. There's no difference in how much energy it takes. Okay, so now we'll go find his video, and I didn't play it, but you could just tell what it was doing. Alright, so might as well just do this one.
In this one, guys, we're more accurately representing Gary's original conundrum about the one mass, one distance.
Obviously, it wasn't my conundrum. It was your conundrum.
Speed of revolution compared to the half mass, 2 distance. These are spread. 2's distance.
Yeah, barely. Okay, so the weight of the wheel has to be considered too, and so this is not big. This isn't much difference in distance and rotational speed. So let's not kid ourselves and say this is the ideal way to do the experiment. But whatever.
And these are just 1 distance. This bolt nut combination is the same weight as this bolt nut combination, but they are exactly double this bolt and nut combination, excluding the weight of the discs. I took the weight of the wooden discs off and exactly had double the weight in this one as to that one.
I hope he didn't make these discs for this purpose. It just looks like he did, right? But whatever, who knows? Yeah, I said the whole thing, bicycle wheel, you want to talk, it's talking about how much energy it takes to rotate it. It doesn't, erasing gravity probably isn't the best way to test. Well, we know it isn't the best way to test.
But this one is double the radius.
So it's really just a friction race. The heavy thing, lots of friction, Just so the exact opposite happens if you give them velocity and watch how long it takes them to slow down. The heavy one's going to slow down really fast, and the fast one's going to slow down really slow. So it's just going to be the inverse of this. Yeah, we get it already. So that's the video, I guess.
That's as we would expect.
As you would expect, yes, but it's not exactly my point. My point is that it takes the same energy to rotate those two objects. Obviously, one is twice as heavy. You want to try to eliminate the twice as heavy part from having an impact on what you're testing. You're testing how fast can I move these objects, spin them. But whatever. So we'll see what kind of little gloating crap they do here. Great demo. That pesky inertia. So here we go again with this nonsense word. That mass thing. Yeah, right. Will be interesting if he responds to this. Well, I already did respond to it before he made the video, didn't I? So before he did it, I responded to it and I pointed out what we're really looking for. He didn't pay any attention to that. He has avoided my demo so far. What demo is that? So let's go find his demo. Oh, fuck. Doesn't even have his videos on his homepage. So what is this? So this is his new demo. Okay, here we go.
Mondays are the best.
Commercials.
If you're a Dunkin' Rewards member.
Amazing.
Because members get a free medium hot.
He gets 4 views on his videos.
Right, so this is a quick one just to
And he's got fucking commercials on them. Amazing. 11 thumbs up seems unrealistic also.
demonstrate the moment of inertia.
Oh,
so we
there's no moment of inertia. It's just such a baby talk nonsense. Look, I can show you physicists saying inertia is just mass. There's no other thing. The word just means how heavy is it.
As wheeled probe, we put weights on 6 centimeters from the central axis. We've given it a potential height in gravity, so a potential energy.
Again, more nonsense about gravity. Yes, heavier things collect more energy when they fall. That's my theory. They're collecting energy. Heavy things land, they go boom. Light things lands, it goes boom.
And it's not moving, it's just that it's moment. It's just, if we just touch it, it's just, you know.
Well, what's the point? Get to it already. Brother.
Even with a bit more energy than the potential, it's not quite enough to get it in motion. So the potential energy is from the height, obviously, and gravitation. The weights are out on, you know, as far out as it can be. And then what I shall do is keep all this the same setup, same height, the probe in the same position on the track.
Oh, he's just rolling it down a ramp again. Okay, so it's the same bullshit. All right, same experiment. He's not seeing how much energy it takes to spin it. He's seeing how much energy it's going to collect from gravity. Well, the heavier one will collect more energy.
And we will add weights, 4 weights on each side, 3 centimeters from the axis, so double the weight and half the distance, or you know, whatever you want to say. So at the moment, with the lighter setup, so this is actually, you know, these are 4 grams each. So we've got 8 grams, and we're going to put 16 grams on. So we've got 16 grams there, and we're going to put 32 on. So it'll actually be heavier.
Yes. Let's just get to it already.
Or sort of. Right, there we go. And there she goes. So, despite this actually being more massive, it has a lower inertia point, a lower moment of inertia than when the probe
has the weights further out, then there's a higher moment of inertia.
Right, you're on a tiny axle, so you're just doing a different experiment. Now you're not rolling on a wide circumference, you're rolling on a narrow circumference. So the spin rate's going to be higher because you're in a very tiny rotational surface. So, so this experiment is what? The exact opposite as Gosling. So let's go back and watch this part just so we can demonstrate that.
And we'll see what happens. Right, we're back. So we've added the weights, doubled the weights, half the distance now. So from the centre point with this potential,
well, how come we never
it's just not going past its moment of inertia. So I'll be back in 5 when I've attached the magnets, and we'll see what happens.
Never touched
Right, we're back. So we've added the weights, doubled the weights, half the distance now. So from the centre point to the edge is 3 centimetres. Before it was from the centre to the edge, which was 6 centimetres, and obviously half the weight. So we're going to place that on the track in the same position, same height, nothing's been changed, so same potential energy, and we'll see what happens. You know, will it go past its moment of inertia? Will it be the same? Will it be different? We shall see.
Oh, now this is just idiotic. I mean, he's put the balance. He's saying, does it roll? Well, of course, the thing with the 2 weights far out is going to just stay in one position because it's going to take energy to push it and move it. So of course that's going to happen because the 2 weights are going to be canceling each other. But you got 4 weights on a tiny axle, then it's not going to make any difference. So yeah, the 2 things will fall. Will initiate motion, all right, because of gravity. Whatever you want to call it, I don't know if friction's the right word, but the resistance to motion, okay, turning, is going to be different with something with 4 weights and something with 2 weights. Duh.
Right, so we've got the probe on the track. We're going to position it in the same position, same height, same potential. All we've changed is we've added more weight and we placed it in a different part of the wheel. So let's get it lined up, all that go. And there she blows.
So that proves something.
So again, we're lined up, or sort of. Right, there we go.
Put the 4 weights in, double them up. So there's only 2, there's just 2 of them on the disc instead of 4 of them on the disc. Right? I mean, he had two weights on his first disc, right? Yeah, 2 weights. So he's got 2 weights really far apart. Now he's going to put 4 really close together and say, look, it's more likely to tip. Yeah, so he's just measuring tipping. He's not measuring the rotational speed. So what's the point of this? Amazingly stupid video. Oh, fuck. Not even on the subject. So again, they're still disputing this simple logic that it's the rotational speed of the whole disk. All you know is that every atom is going to be going a speed. Every atom has a speed. And the speed of the average atom, that is, if you add them all up and figure out their MVs all together, there's going to be a total. And that's how much energy it's going to take to move it. The average piece of mass is going to be moving a specific average velocity. So if you take the average velocity for every little piece of matter, the averages for both disks are going to be the same. And that's all that matters. And if you don't believe that, I'm just saying, fucked hard. Explain to me how you don't believe that's true. That's all that matters, is what is the average velocity of an atom on that disk. And if the 2 numbers, if they both have the same average velocity, then they have to spin with the same energy. Oh, fuck. There's just no point in talking to these imbeciles. Alright, anyway. So that was a stupid demo, frankly. Alright, Goofy is probably not going to like this video. I already pointed out how, yes. But we all know that physics is counterintuitive. We all know that, he says. So you all are going to buy into that argument that physics should be counterintuitive? Yeah, I think that's pretty stupid as a statement. Oh, look, there's Brozo. We haven't seen Brozo in so long. Oh, look at all this crap. Amazing. Let's see. He wants it both ways. I don't even know what that means because he attempted to use more like ABS, whatever that is, this principle of inertia. I don't have any, there's no principle of inertia. It's like saying the principle of mass. Slowing down one versus the other as a half-baked excuse to suppose. So he says it's half-baked, that it's not a fact, that friction isn't linear. So I've got the 5-minute video out there. Just respond to it, fuckhead. Explain how something I said in that video is wrong. That you have some evidence that what I'm saying is wrong. That if something moves faster over a scale, it does in fact weigh less. You want to just show me where that's wrong. Oh, you God, what a disgusting scum these people are. Anyway, to supposedly invalidate my experiment. What experiment? I had a solid versus hollow cylinder being pushed at the requisite 2-to-1 ratio. So again, this is this idiotic thing. He's doing an experiment where they're supposed to have the same... you're making a comparison between a 2-mass and a 1-mass, and he's got them hollowed, and that's just too stupid. The lever is pushing 10 tons, 10 grams at either of those 2-to-1 velocities. If we had significantly stronger lever, of course, they would still launch at those velocities. I don't even know. If you're going to say they're 2-to-1 velocities, then I win, retard. Nor would it matter greatly if the lever was launching ions to objects shown here. The difference would be is that one weighs twice as much as the other. So you want to keep ignoring the absolute weights of the objects. The whole point is how much energy does it take to spin the object? That was the objective. How much energy does it take to spin the two objects? Fuck. They would still launch at the required velocities because they would be forced to do so, despite one of them resisting disproportionately due to extra inertia. So he thinks the lighter object is going to resist motion. The thing with the half mass on the outside will somehow resist being pushed. Well, go ahead and do that experiment because you're going to lose big time. Alright, the lever wouldn't care even if one was super glued to the spot. So, what a pile of crap. Well, he's an idiot, so there's no point in reading this crap. He's an idiot. Alright, Mindless Marvel, thank you so much. I don't know how much more apparent it can get that Gary is full of crap. So again, they can't do the right experiments. They can't tease out the detail that needs to be teased out, okay? You claim it takes 9 times the fuel to go 3 times as fast. You claim it does 9 times the damage when you go 3 times as fast. You make these fucking claims and then you do this bullshit and say, there, we've proven it. This obviously doesn't prove it, and it certainly doesn't prove how much energy it takes to spin the fucking wheel. So again, the whole argument has been is that once it's spinning, so let's say I spin them both at the same rate. I have the 2 masses out, the lighter masses out on the outside. I have the 4 masses on the inside, twice the mass. I spin those 2 discs the same exact speed. Do they have the same exact energy is the question. What do you think the fucking answer is, you fucking piece of shit? If I put my saw, a piece of wood or something, next to that thing and have it saw the wood, which one you think's going to saw more wood, shit for brain? Because they actually do have exactly the same energy stored in them. Oh, God. Your people are such puss. Such fucking puss. All right, what's this crap? The screen. Oh, I'm not even gonna bother. The fucking emoticon girl. Jesus Christ. Ugh, what people. I mean, what are you? 10 fucking years old? Ugh, disgusting. Alright, so nothing there about the theory, nothing there about the fact, well, didn't Gary mention how maybe you should do this on a bicycle wheel, where you can create big, giant differences between where the weights are, and you can spin it horizontally so, gravity won't have anything to do with it? Didn't Gary say that, fuckhead? Shit. So, it's just no point. Alright, so enough of a video, hell with it. yeah, so I don't know why he stopped doing the lever thing. He's got it there. He could turn it into a catapult really easy, right? He could just put the rubber band on one side, start shooting the two objects. No, we're not going to bother doing that. He could just measure how long the pendulum is, so then we can do the calculating for the distance and figure out the velocities. But no, fuck that. All right, just fuck these people. Damn it. Hey, this actually works. That's surprising. It's not much of a magnifying glass. I mean, the light doesn't do shit by itself, but it's pretty good. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's still, it's over here a little bit. Well, anyway, let me take rid of this off and see what happens. Yeah, you can still see that. When it's dark, you can see it. Kind of cool. Stuff you can buy for 43 cents. Amazing. Anyway, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. I just need room to play with this stuff. And time, of course. But whatever. Alright. Yeah, I really don't need to say anymore, do I? I mean, I don't need to draw it again and again and again, really. It's about the average atom and its speed. So you're just really saying how much mass is it, how fast does the average atom move. And if those two numbers end up being the same for two setups, then they have to take the same amount of fuel to move. Now what they don't have to do is move in gravity the same, because they obviously won't weigh the same. But they will absorb energy the same if it's something other than gravity that's giving them the energy. Alright, I've already said it enough times. So, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. Shit. Well, I should see if there's any other videos. A busy day. There was a video in my subscription. I hate this be smart asshole now, but anyway, I'm still subscribed to that channel. Anyway, they did some crap on crash testing, and it was obviously all about momentum. And in the whole video, there was absolutely no mention about how much you can reduce the impact of a crash by reducing your speed. So clearly there was none of this realization that, wow, if I go 3 times slower, I'll have 9 times less of an impact. 9 times. Huge advantage. Even if I went half as fast, I got a tremendous 4 times advantage in how much impact there is. No talk about that at all. So it was just all about momentum. But it was so childish and dorky that fuck it. I don't know who could find these videos appealing. Ugh. What's popular is just absolutely disgusting crap. So anyway, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot.